Well, hello everybody. Scotty,
Look,
Andy,
look at this, Andy. We're in two boxes.
hanging out here.
Hey!
Remember when we used to do this live all the time?
Yeah, pre-COVID and then
Yeah.
a couple times in COVID.
So we're recording this and we're going live. Here's the fun thing. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay because we have the NCAA stuff on right now. So we might as well just go live. We'll give you a little taste of a show when you're not doing a show, right?
Yep, Buffalo Rose.
We're
here
live
in,
at the Buffalo
in
Rose and Golden. Come on out and see us. It's going to be a great, fun day. We still got a bunch of tournament games left. They got some great food. Scotty and I both had the Buffalo sliders. I don't know why I'm showing them to you or pointing at that. You can't see them, and you couldn't see them anyway because we've eaten them all. Yeah, there's a good fry. You want to show them
Hey,
what's...
their fries are fantastic.
Their fries are excellent.
Yeah,
A lot of good batter in the whole deal. All right. Well, as we sit here dead in the middle of the afternoon, it's 3 o'clock as we start here. Hopefully you got nothing better to do, but maybe jump on and join us here right now. I don't know whether to start with the Avs and the Nuggets after last night, but since you've been doing the Nuggets, why don't you talk to me about, you and I did talk earlier, and I know a lot of people are upset, and they think that you shouldn't lose to a Memphis team. There should be no excuses. There should be this. There should be that. Hello. If you're in town, again, come on down. Come on. See us. Say hello. What's your take on they shouldn't be too tight? I know last night's incredibly frustrating. I know we want to see this team climb the standings, but as two guys that have traveled with teams, and I know that, again, listen, folks, do they travel and not have to go into the airport? Absolutely. All right. There's certain things that are an absolute, you get a little bit more convenient when you travel with the team, but that still doesn't change the time of the morning. That still doesn't change the time you get to a hotel. Matter of fact, you're trying to move more people around. And I mean, my experiences with football teams where you're trying to get nearly 100 people loaded up onto buses and all to the same place. Going to bed at 5:30 a.m. is still going to bed at 5:30 a.m. Just talk to us about your experience since you lived that trip last night.
Well, I would say this for the people that are freaking or whatever. That's fine. You're fans and you're allowed to do that. On paper, it is a huge loss. At the time of year it happens to a team that's going to be in the lottery, it's a bad loss. Third game in 4 nights again. Denver leads. I told you this. They lead the league in back-to-backs, and they still got one more. I read an article earlier this year and said, well, they're getting away from having 17 back-to-backs, and most teams only have 12 or 13. Well, next week will be their 17th. And they've already had 8 back-to-backs, which also, by the way, lead the league, where your first game is a late game and your second game is a travel and lose an hour from the time slot. So you're playing, 22 hours later. They lead the league in all those games too. And they've been good on back-to-backs. When I laid down, I think I turned all the lights off at 5:36. Doom scrolled to probably close to 6 and finally fell asleep. And then when you wake up at 10, the sun's out and you're ready to go, man, I should be getting ready to go. My day started. And you're like, but I've had 4 hours sleep. It just throws everything off. But I knew getting to the gym, just flashing back 25 years ago when I played, I'm like, dude, this is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. You don't feel good. You're lethargic. And now you're going to ask guys to play again for the third time in 4 days. On paper, it's probably unexcusable. But to me, that was more of that's a handful of scheduled losses you get every single year. That was one of them. The problem was it's happening with 13 games left in the season.
Okay, and something else. Look, I agree. None of us want them to lose. And let me be clear, nobody wants them losing to a team like Memphis, but you had talked to me about you had young guys out there. First off, here's the thing about tanking too. There's still games where you got a chance to win, and then when the other team doesn't have their best stuff that night. You talked to me about how the coaches from Memphis attacked that whole
Listen,
thing.
the only people that want to tank are general managers and owners.
Right.
The coach, because
coach ain't gonna be around to coach your number one pick, right?
You could fall in line and take all these games and have bad records, and then 3 years later, when all of a sudden those high draft picks that you were able to acquire, all of a sudden come into being able to play. And listen, when you're drafting guys that are coming out of college and freshmen and so on, Cade Cunningham last year wins comeback player of the year. He was the number one pick 3 years ago. he's comeback player of the year 3 years after, or 2 years after he was the number one pick. So, and usually those coaches, by the way, the guy that drafted Cade Cunningham, guess what? He ain't. He ain't still coaching, is he?
No.
He's not there. So on paper, it's bad, but that coach, he knew we got in early in the morning, knew it was the third game in 4 nights. He decides to pick up 94 feet. He rotated. Every single player on his team played, and the minimum amount of time played was 10 minutes. So that means every few minutes he was, and I noticed that in the first quarter, quick subs, 2 and 3 guys. When you're seeing 2 and 3 guys subbing in, it's either one or two things. Either you're getting your butt beat and you're panicking, you're trying to figure something out, or you're just stringing guys in to keep the tempo and pressure going, wear it out, and let's win the game late. And eventually, in the fourth quarter, Arkansas, Denver didn't have anything energy-wise to kind of bring at them. So, yeah, don't say anything about tanking. Give Memphis a lot of credit, and that was a fatigue loss. That's all that was. I'll say this: if you'd have won that game, you would have had to steal it.
Right.
And that's
they almost did.
And that's against a 24-win team.
See, where I knew they didn't have it, I kept watching, and they kept making a run, but then you could just see the run out of gas a little bit, right? And it just, here's a run, now it's out of gas. Here's a run, now it's out of. I just, and again, look, guys, I know that, again, if you're sitting out there and you haven't traveled like that, you're not going to get it. And I know they're highly paid, and I know if you live a blue collar life, maybe you just don't want to hear it, and that's fine. As a fan, you're allowed to have that opinion. I just know that
it's not the reality.
It's a lot tougher than what people, especially because here's not only the thing. It is 3 games in 4 nights, but it's also becoming 4 and 6 nights. And now it's like 8 and 10 nights, 8 and 11 nights. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, this thing's really kind of stacking up. And again, these aren't all in the same city. We made that, like, if Memphis had come to Denver last night, then maybe I'd feel you a little bit more. But no, you had to go to Memphis.
Lose an hour of time zone. And you're going to do that next Tuesday and Wednesday. You play Sunday. Fly Monday, play in Phoenix on Tuesday, and they're in that funky time zone. So then you'll fly back after the game, 1.5-hour flight, but you lose an hour, so it becomes a 2.5-hour flight, 45 minutes to an hour from the airport to getting home. And then, oh, by the way, you got to play a game on Wednesday again, another 3 and 4 nights. It's
with another game Friday.
Yeah, it's the travel. And it's the time zone changes that just absolutely kill you. When George Karl took over the Nuggets, they had a record during a stretch of a couple of years of where they were like something stupid, 60 something and 3 on teams having to travel west to east to play Denver on a back-to-back. Because you got the altitude you mess with, you got the time zone change you mess with, and all that different stuff. And the league came out, and there was enough complaints going on. The league said, hey, we can't do it. And if you go back and look, not many teams play in the West Coast time zone and come back and play in Denver on a back-to-back. It doesn't happen.
Right.
But guess what? Next Wednesday will be the fourth time Denver's had to do it themselves. Well, what's the difference other than it's not another team coming in there? So it's a funky schedule. The travel was screwy. We sat at the airport, got on. We're already going to leave because it was a late game the night before. We're sitting on a plane about 12:15 now, and they go, oh, by the way, we can't get the engine started. And they brought another piece of equipment, and this one big enough to jumpstart the engines to get them going. So now they got to find and borrow one from across the DIA, and you think DIA is not spread out. You haven't been out there. So by the time they go there, get them, now it's like 1:30. I think we take off about 1:56, 2 o'clock. Well, that's already 3 o'clock there. It's a 2+ hour flight, almost 2.5 hours to fly to Memphis. Like I told you, I went to bed at 6. Then you come back last night after the game. I think I put my head on the pillow right at 3 o'clock last night. And it just eventually wears that on you. And especially you're talking about now you've played 70 games.
Right.
On top of all that. So
there's been a lot of this the last 3 weeks.
Been a lot of it. But it is what it is. And again, on paper, it's a horrible loss. Money has nothing to do with it. They pay a lot of money. Well, good. Good. Have we never seen anybody in another sport? They pay Clayton Kershaw a lot of money to pitch.
Yeah.
Are there times he has a bad game? So what? What are you doing?
In the World Series, no less?
Yeah. So, listen, it is what it is. Tough loss. They got it. I figured this out the other day. I think they have 9 games left at home.
Okay.
You win those 9 games, now all of a sudden you're at 51 wins, I think. You have 3 games left on the road, 3 or 4. You win 2 or 3 of those. Now you're at 53, 54 wins. You are what you are. You're going to be fine.
Okay, so let's go with that then. Where should the expectations be for everybody come playoff time? If they're healthy, and they're getting healthy, if they can finally keep this group healthy and together, are they a problem for anybody? Can they take on all comers, or what? Where are you at with this right now?
I think they're trouble for anybody. You lost 2 games in Oklahoma City within a week, 1 in overtime and 1 on the last second shot.
Right.
That's
right.
That's the best team in basketball.
Without Peyton Watson, and one of them you didn't have Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, so I think you can compete. But you got to be healthy. You got to get back. I can't believe that Peyton Watson isn't playing either Friday or Sunday. I think he's that close that you're sitting there thinking about, okay, when is this? Are we getting this done? And that helps. But then again, guess what you got to do? Now you got a minimum restriction with him. You got to try to get him acclimated again. And I've said this before when we talked. You go hockey, same thing. You got a lower body injury. Guess what you ain't doing? You're not conditioning.
Right.
So now not only got to get back, you got to make sure you trust my ankle, my calf, my hamstring, my groin, whatever it might be. I got to do it and try to get conditions at the same time. So I think it's pretty important that they get him back, double-digit games. And, they haven't had in a long time, all 5 starters and Peyton Watson healthy. In fact, I'll give you a stat. Here's the last stat. Here's why I'm not as concerned as Vic and all the other people. You know how many games the 5 starters have played together this year?
15?
15.
Really? I was just guessing.
15.
How about that?
Do you realize they're the number 1 scoring starting 5 in those 15 games? I think they're number 1 in points, 120-plus points. You know what they are defensively? They're allowed 106. They're top
when all 5 are together.
We're all 5 are star. They're top 4 defensive team in the thing. Offensive efficient or some other. There's 3-4 stats that are all do this, but points allowed, then the efficiency numbers, and then point differential. All those are in the top 4 or 5 in all 4 of these major, where all the teams are judged on. In those 4 major statistical categories, they're top 5 in the league.
So that makes you feel better.
So from that standpoint, but dude, you're sitting here at game 69, 70, and you've only played 15 games together?
Yeah, that's 55 games doing quick math without the right lineup.
Come on now.
So
I think it'll be okay. It may be the year, it may not be the year, but I think if healthy, and these are big ifs, but if healthy going in the playoffs, whether they have home court or not, I think they're going to be dangerous.
All right. Well,
I mean, if you're a 3 seed, you want to play Denver at 6?
No, not in your building. Not after what they did to Oklahoma City last year. I mean, again, and again, if healthy, this is all if healthy, because what you're also describing is what happens when they actually have their right bench together and the full rotation together. And now all of a sudden, Bruce Brown isn't playing huge minutes and Tim Hardaway isn't playing starters minutes. They're coming in and give you 15 minutes or whatever, a good substitution minute would be. There's still, Nate had even said he's not sure Peyton Watson gets the starting rotation back when he gets back because Cam Johnson's the one that's been playing. So,
and it shows you also the importance of getting Aaron Gordon back.
Yeah.
Because, listen, people don't want to know this either. You got your 1 and 2 guys in Murray and Joker. They're fine. They've had a great year. They're fine. But we've talked about it here too. You need that third option.
Yeah, and Joe and Gordon just spaces the floor different for everybody,
inside and out. And now all of a sudden, Gordon comes back, and isn't it funny that Gordon comes back and Christian Brown's playing better, and Cam Johnson's playing a little better, and things are a little more flowy, and
because everyone's back in their role, right? Now you're back in your role. You taught me this long ago with Earl Boykins. I remember one time Earl Boykins was 6th man of the year, and they lost somebody, and Earl had to come back in. I go, well, isn't that a good thing? And Scotty was telling me, he said, you don't know, because now all of a sudden your bench rotations are off. Now Earl's coming in soon. Earl's in there from the start of the game. Well, you don't have an Earl coming in anymore. And it just throws off the flow of what you're trying to do and how you manage the game. So if you can get healthy and keep everybody in the proper roles they're meant to be in to begin with, when they're dominating everybody, then everything's probably fine.
When Earl's going against everybody else's twos.
Right. He's a terror.
He's a terror. Now he's going against everybody's ones. He'll have some success.
Yeah.
But he ain't
But
having
it's not the same
success.
thing.
No.
All right, now let's talk about, now we got to shift to the other team that just was Colorado Avalanche, man. And I don't know what to name. Last night was kind of disheartening to me, and I realized they won. I saw Mark Springer put out there, there's a lot of good things to talk about, and he's not necessarily wrong. They played better defense. They committed to a physical style. They finished their checks last night. They did a lot of things, but still.
What was the power play?
Power play had the first goal of the game. They only had 2 power plays. The refs were not calling anything. Both teams got 2 power plays. That was it. And you know what? Hats off to the Avs. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think the Avs gave up a goal on the power play. So they played good defense that way. But again, there's that guy. There's Ottinger that shows up, and you get goalied again. I mean, a 2-1 game and a shootout is incredibly frustrating with how many resources, in my opinion, you've put towards being a good offensive team. And Nazem Kadri's back, and Nazem Kadri's had some positive effects, but, again, you still had a lot of times where you couldn't get to a rebound in front of the net. You didn't take Ottinger's eyes away. You saw so many of the shots. Now, listen, I realize Dallas is really good and all that kind of stuff. I realize that in a perfect world, Dallas and Colorado, and in a real world where you were to just go 1 through 16, Dallas and Colorado would probably be the Stanley Cup final, not only the Western Conference final. But that you don't have that luxury.
You got the screwy playoff system.
Well, and Bettman again went on some podcast this week, and he's just Bettman is being ignorant. Bettman's that person that
he's got to keep Toronto happy.
He's that significant other that just is dug in on their way and doesn't want to hear anything you got to say about it. Period. They are dug in on their way. And yeah, you know what I do think? I'm not going to lie. The way that you put it that way. You know what this does? That means Edmonton doesn't get knocked out early. That doesn't mean in Vancouver. I don't know what Canadian teams are in, but you saying keeping Toronto happy? Well, you know what? I don't know that Edmonton's got the crew to actually beat a couple of the teams in this division. So it's a way to get your Canadian team back in there. But what they need to pay attention to is if you're going back and look at the ratings last year, there was a phenomenal rematch between 2 really good teams in Florida and Edmonton. You know what? The ratings sucked. You know why? There wasn't 2 American teams in it. And if you care about the American fan base on TV, then you need to not worry about pushing the Canadian teams into the finals the way that I think they do.
You look at the Super Bowl, you still get massive ratings on one because it's a phenomenon, but 95% of the fan base doesn't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
So, and yet why are people watching it? One, you have bigger markets and everything else. Edmonton's not the biggest market in the world, is it?
No.
And do you think anybody in Vancouver or Quebec City or Montreal give a flip about Edmonton?
No, their rivalries there. Again, it's just like the Broncos. It's like me as a Bronco fan telling you I don't want to watch another Super Bowl with the Chiefs in it. I've had enough. I don't care they got Patrick Mahomes. That doesn't do me anything. That guy makes my life miserable as a fan of those teams. So what do you think I care? And again, the American public, for the most part, I don't think is in love with McDavid. We're in a town that's got his rival as the best player in hockey. So you think Colorado's tuning in to root for McDavid? Hell no. You know how many friends I sit around here where I would say, because I got buddies, obviously doing the Mammoth stuff. I got friends that are Canadian and from Edmonton, and my buddy Jamie Shuchuk that does the broadcast with me. Dude, they're like, I'm like, if they're going to win the cup, you might as well at least send it to Edmonton where they care. The Florida Panther fans still don't care. They've got 2 in a row and they still barely care. Our buddy Matt Meehan, who we worked with the KOA, was down there. And he told me, you barely know the cup was going on down here. So I'd rather see, and you know what I got over and over and over again? A bunch of Nathan McKinnon fans are in it. Hell no. We don't want McDavid winning when at least McKinnon's got the cup over McDavid. They're not rooting for that to happen. So again, stop trying, because what you're really trying to do without saying it is you're trying to rig it to make sure you get more of these teams in that you want and not the Avs, Wilder, because the Avs, Wild, and Stars should not be playing each other in the first round, period. I don't care who ends up doing it. None of those teams should have to deal with each other in the first round. That's stupid.
But again, and they started this because they went a handful of years with no Canadian teams.
Oh, they went a long time.
A couple of years not even making the playoffs at all.
Right, none at period.
And so you change everything up. Change point systems up. You got shootouts now. You do everything you can to try to salvage points for these Canadian teams. And now you do the playoffs like this. to hopefully get Canadian teams at least the second round, if not sometimes the third. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're playing the best hockey.
Well, and again, they claim they're trying to create rivalries. So I got news for you. As much as we're sick of either seeing the Stars or whatever we see in the first round, you know how sick Edmonton and LA are of playing each other? Again, LA is sick of seeing Edmonton. Well, there's your biggest TV market in America that you got next to New York. And you're going to make sure they're over watching the playoff matchup. It's just stupid. And Bedman is just so dug in on it. Just so ignorant about the thing. Guy drives me nuts, man. Drives me nuts. But I'm just telling you, look, the Avs know the bully that they've got to beat up, and it's Dallas. And it just bothers me that, you had to have this massive comeback to get the win a couple weeks. And then you got one more matchup, and maybe Gabe's back, and maybe Lekkonen's back. And again, kind of like you said with Vic, I get all these fans who get fan texts all the time. Quit worrying about it. When they're healthy, everything will be fine. Well, the power play's not been fine when they were healthy.
Yep.
And you don't know that Gabe or Lecky. I don't know what's wrong with them. They keep telling us they're going to be back, but it's hockey. Are we sure they're going to be back? And again, you should have enough depth with all the moves that you've made and the trades that you made and the money that you've spent. I mean, you've sacrificed. I guess what stresses me out as an Avs fan, and we always talk about how much I love the Avs, dude, you got to make something happen with this because you've now sacrificed enough of the future. Some stuff better happen. We're going to have some rough years ahead when all this crew gets disbanded. So this is why I stress out about this stuff. You need to get this happening now. And I don't know that I see a ton of evidence that said you've made enough moves to be able to tackle Dallas, and it bugs me. And I hate to sit here on March 19th and admit that. But right now, I am still nervous that you've got enough to take down Dallas. So,
well, and the style of play, I think you've had enough people to try to match the style of play. And you and I talked about when all these trades and pickups happened, it was to play Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was to get more physical.
That is the dragon you have to slay.
When they got rid of Sam Girard, and we had Jesse on from Grill Sports, and he finally even said it, which you've been and I've been saying it for the last 5 years. He's great in regular season. You don't have time to scout. You think there's a lot of scouting going on for the Nuggets in Memphis last night?
No. They just want to get in and out.
He didn't have any time. And Gerard's great in those games. Ty Lawson was great in those games during the regular season. But now all of a sudden in postseason, when the ice shrinks, the court shrinks in all the postseason, eventually, especially by the time you get to the second round, that ice shrinks. It ain't. I think the way the Avs won that Stanley Cup 4 years ago, they may be the last true speeded up, go crazy team to win it for a long time.
Yeah, because they were just it's just unreal. Well, let's look at Peyton Manning's Colts, because sometimes, unfortunately, that's a little what the Avs remind me about, is the Peyton Manning Colts, where they were so good in the regular season and they were so fun to watch, but then they get to the playoffs and the struggles that always happen, and the Colts would face the Patriots, and the Patriots would mug their receivers and not let them run clean routes, and the NFL tried to change the rules to happen, and still Peyton Manning only won one Super Bowl with the Colts, and they only went to two. That's it. For all his years of greatness, they only went to 2 Super Bowls playing that style. And sometimes I just feel like the Avs are just so about the wide open offense. And we know year after, again, St. Louis wasn't good enough to slow. We'll go back to the Cup year. Nashville, are you kidding me? Because that was the true 1-8 season. Nashville probably shouldn't even been in the playoffs, especially once they lost their goalie. Then you go to St. Louis, and St. Louis was the closest thing they got to a team that wanted to just try to make sure they had a miserable time, because that's what Dallas did last night. We're just going to wait for you to get impatient. Right. And frankly, look, the Dallas goal, I'll give you this. The Dallas goal, it was a stupid lucky goal. They had a dumb shot that went off the pipe and right out to the other guy. But for whatever reason, it's dumb. It's lucky. I'm sick of seeing it. But Dallas always seems to create that kind of luck against the Avs, especially come playoff time. I don't know how they do it, but they do.
Because they always got somebody in front of the net.
Well, yeah, and they always got a couple guys going hard to the net. And the goalie always gets in a bad position. And look, Wedgwood still almost made the save, but at the end of the day, he didn't. And now Dallas is 2 points from making sure you play Minnesota instead of them.
So you lost the game, and you talked about Dallas goalie. You got goalied a little bit last night. I mean, you're a shootout away from Dallas saying we got goalied.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's kind of funny. Honestly, when you look at the efforts, Colorado should have won the game last night, and Dallas should have won the game in Dallas.
Right.
So it's kind of like karma. The hockey gods evened everything up the way that it worked. But again, what's frustrating? Guess who had his puck on the stick with the last shot in the shootout?
McKinnon.
Nathan McKinnon. And it did not get done. So, and Nathan can
You
get
know
frustrated,
what that
and I
is?
love that Nathan said a lot of things, but at times Nathan's also got to look at himself and say,
Get
I've
it
not
done.
scored these goals, period.
You got to get it done. McKinnon not being able to be a great
Shootout player.
reminds me of a guy that kills it in a game shooting, and then you play horse with him and you can't make a shot.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't understand. Now, McKinnon technically, I mean, ifs and buts, you know, what is it? Close is only good and hand grenades
and ping pong.
Yeah, whatever. He beat Ottinger, but again, didn't beat him for a goal, got him down. But you know, it is what it is. Look, man, if I'm gauging who I'm more worried about compared to expectation beginning of the year, I have more concerns about the Avalanche and the way they played since the Olympic break than I do right now with the Nuggets. You know,
That's pretty good. I'm less concerned, but I'm not as deeply involved with the Avs as you are. I just think they're in a race. They got to get it done. Do whatever you got to do. Okay, blah blah blah. I think you just need to get the playoffs here, and it's big. Lehkonen.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, Lehkonen's one of your tough guys, so get in front of the net.
He'll go and get his nose bloody to put a goal in, and I think so will Gabe. But I'll tell you what, after the injury Gabe suffered, boy, let me ask you: did you ever have a teammate that?
Yes.
Who was it? Kind of like Makar is to Gabe.
No, I thought you meant the guy kicked in the.
Well, if you want to tell that story, that too. But I mean, before we get to that story, have you ever, like, the guy's just always like, he goes to foul somebody, but he's fouling you too, or he's always like, maybe where you're just like, bro, hit them, quit hitting me.
Yeah, Tom McMillan. We used to call Danny Roundfield, the late great Danny Roundfield, nicknamed Tom McMillan, Sleprock.
Sleprock?
Remember from the Flintstones? the one guy that accidents always happen around him. I think it was Sleprock, something like that. So that was what Tom McMillan's did. Because you guard it, he'd turn around and go like this, and all of a sudden you're getting hit.
You're catching the elbow. Now what happened to your buddy that took it in the Jumblies?
Marvin Webster got hit down there somehow. I don't remember the foot, knee, elbow, whatever. And they had to take him to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Now, basketball players not playing with a cup on either, but they're also not looking at 100 miles an hour.
Sure.
You know, frozen rubber coming at them. But they had to go to the hospital. His testicles swelled up the size of a grapefruit, and he was urinating blood. So, I mean, it can get, we all, I remember YouTube. Remember that hitting the nuts YouTube thing that was a few years ago, and everybody, it was funny. Funny when somebody else is getting hit.
Yeah,
there.
as long as it's not you.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're talking about.
But
is
he
severe
was
damage.
out. He was out over 2 weeks. He missed at least 2 weeks of basketball.
Brutal.
I mean, can you imagine those swelling up on the sides of a grapefruit?
I don't want to think about it. No, I can't. See, I don't deal with these stories so well. I really don't. I used to yell at my kids when I was coaching lacrosse. They'd be out there without cups on. I'm like, boys, you're going to learn a hard lesson. You know, you're gonna have the family decision made for you, especially my attackman down by the goal. I don't know what you think you're doing, but okay. Hey, you're fixing to find out what happened.
But you know why you can't
Direct
fit it?
hit.
You can't fit a jock into boxer shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys were playing lacrosse when you started coaching that now all of a sudden they're wearing boxer shorts instead of jock straps?
Yeah, probably. You're right. I mean, I can't tell you that I checked, but yeah, likely. Or MeUndies. Maybe they're wearing MeUndies. Hey, MeUndies, if you want to sponsor, we've got a new setup.
What are MeUndies?
It's just an underwear brand. They have the special pouch. See, now they've got the underwear
the pouch?
where there's a compartment where everything's supposed to go to separate.
Yeah, but that would be, to me, is be like let me put a laser on the target so it's more easily accessible.
Because now it's
sitting there
held
out
in a
front.
space. Yeah, right.
I think I don't know if I'd want to play in one of those.
I agree. I'm with you. But anyway, Broncos go and sign. They trade for Jalen Waddle. We've talked about this the last couple days. You getting excited, or are you? I'll. You know what? I'll help you out. I'm asking the questions. How about I give you the answer for me first? I like the move on paper, but I told you earlier when we chatted on the phone, I remember Anthony Miller coming to the Broncos, and I was so excited about it. So there's a little bit of wait and see for this guy, just because. Well, we're trying to. The ladies wanted to come in, and Now they're not being allowed. I don't know.
Well, they
I
were
don't know.
watching our podcast.
Yeah, they want to sit down. Hey, we're sexy. We're the sexy part of altitude. You got the sexy part of altitude here today.
And that's a little scary.
It
that's
is
the
radio.
case.
You should know.
Oh, that's true.
Is Vic the sexiest guy on the station?
No. The radio
ain't
station?
Moj.
Oh, no, not even close.
Are you thinking yourself?
No.
Tyler with
not
his
even
new hair and new body?
Let's be honest. I mean,
well, it ain't D-Mac.
that ain't the brightest bulb in the box right
What?
there.
Who is it? Is it Kreckman?
No.
We're running out of people.
Well, I think that the sexy gene is pretty much left.
Is it Connor? Does Connor count? He's the
He
radio
doesn't really
voice.
count.
What about Steve Nelson and that
Oh, no.
smooth Kenny Loggins beard of his?
No, I found out his nickname is Reek. So I'm not sure that
Is it Ryan Emmy
well,
with his country club good looks?
he's probably gonna be the close and even coach.
Yeah, Sanford's got a little of that California sly guy working.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
But he's got some shiftiness to him where I'm like, hey man, why don't you calm down?
They ought to call him Country Club and the Surfer. They could rename that show.
All right.
Surfing the Country
Yeah.
Club.
Gotta come up with something else for surfer though. I
Cali.
can't think of one. Country club in the what?
Cali.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who was a country club in Spicoli? Who's the greatest wastoid California character from the 80s? Spicoli,
It's not
right?
even close.
Country club.
I
in
mean,
Spicoli.
was it the 90s or
CC and
2000? It came with Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude, Where's My Car was pretty good.
I mean, that was two of them. Dumb and Dumber were basically
Dazed and Confused.
basically just two stoner guys that weren't.
Anyway, are you excited about the Jayla Waddle move? Or are you like,
No,
me, it's kind of like, let's see what
let's
goes
go
on.
wait and see.
I mean, I'm glad they did it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great trade, but
Again, on paper, the Nuggets supposed to beat Memphis
Yeah.
last night. On paper, it's a great move. You've added speed, and the guy's plays a lot of games. He hasn't missed. I think he's missed 6 games in his 5 years in the league. He's only 27. Speedster. They say not only speed, but he runs great routes. So I'm awesome. I'm all in. And they say, hey, he's going to be. I think you guys had on your show 40% of his passes were middle of the field. 10 to 12 yards middle of the field. Great.
crossing routes is his best route.
And then the next thing is, can Bo make those throws?
He can do the crossers. Now, Bo's going to have to get better, or at least he's going to have to be better than he was a year ago in the deep balls. But maybe this is a guy that makes a few plays where other guys didn't. I don't know. You know, maybe he holds on to a few where other guys should have. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't know. You know, again,
Well,
you know why
it's going to make it interesting when we're out there in August.
It's gonna, and I'm excited for it. Please, fans, don't mishear me. I'm excited for it. But again, you know what? I was excited for Evan Ingram. I'm still trying to figure out I guess that's my thing about this. Why I'm a little hesitant to go all in.
Were you excited about Dre Greenlaw?
Yeah, I was. How'd that work out? Yeah. Now he's back on the Niners.
Now Hufanga looks like the perfect fit.
Hufanga was awesome.
If every free agent or trade works out like Hufanga does,
then you really got some.
Then you got some forever. But let's be honest, if it works out like Evan Ingram or Dre Greenlaw, and I'm not sure Ingram was as bad as Dre Greenlaw, but if it acts like Dre Greenlaw, you know, what's up?
Sean Brennan's here. You know what, Sean? Come say hello to the podcast world. Yeah, come on, come to this side. Stand right here.
Hello, podcast. Hello, podcast.
We're live, actually. So
yeah, we're live.
This will re-air.
Should they reach out to you if anybody wants?
Yeah,
to
if anybody wants
podcast?
to sponsor a podcast, this is the guy.
Or have either one of these gentlemen endorse your product or service?
Sure. Yeah.
As long as it hits your, your high lofty goals.
I do have high lofty goals. There's no doubt about it. So, anyway,
what kind of underwear do you wear?
And come on down by the Buffalo Rose.
Are
you a MeUndies guy?
I was a boxer guy for most of my life, and I kind of switched it over now. I'm wearing those tight boxers now, like the Jules little
with the pouch.
With the pouch.
Just told you.
Got what are they called? What are they called?
Pouch guy.
I look a little better in them every day. Guys.
See now that everybody knows when you come across Sean, you won't help but take a little Make a little notice because you found out the eye patch is up front. So, all right. Hey, welcome to the internet. We can do this. So, all right. Before we wrap this one up, because Sean, I think, wants to chat with us. It looks like we're in trouble. Before we wrap this up, were you into the WBC at all?
No.
It's just D-Mac and Nate, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm with you.
Well, D-Mac's a baseball guy, and Nate's a baseball stat nerd.
Well, he's a big baseball guy.
Yeah, but no, I'm hey.
Yeah. I was not heartbroken when we lost.
Well, I
didn't even watch it. I did not watch one pitch of the World Baseball Classic.
I probably watched an inning or two throughout the 2 weeks.
I was watching out of market hockey. You'd have been proud of me. I ended up watching Rockets Lakers the other night, and the Rockets ended up losing almost exactly like the Nuggets did a couple nights ago. So
I've been watching the Premier League a lot more.
Really?
And the
Little
Champions
soccer.
League, yeah.
See what your daughter did to you. See what the daughters do. Daughters change you, man. All right. Well, you know what? I think we've hit our quota for time. We're going to check in with you again next week. And see, again, guys, we're trying to get this done. We love you. We want to keep doing the podcast, but
on a consistent basis.
Like to try to do it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that is the 3-game and 4-night strategy where they got a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday again next week. So I guess we'll try on Thursday, right?
Well.
Maybe I'll go by Scotty's house for old time's sake, or maybe we'll let him come sit on my couch for old time's sake. We don't know. Maybe we won't. We'll just be where we are. But please join us next Thursday, 9 o'clock. If you missed this or you caught the late tail end of this, I believe it's going to repost on the old YouTube channel at 9 o'clock as well. Till then, we love you. Get on down to the Buffalo Rose. Watch some of the college basketball. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Hey, all right. Yeah. Hey, how do we do this? I don't know. Anyway, live from the Buffalo Rose. Goodbye, all.